know what you gotta do. Do it. Do it.
Welcome to the Bouts, where we celebrate boxing and talk about the exciting bouts that have been made and that we want to see. I'm your host, Harlem Jones, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Pablo and the Magic Man.
What's up?
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. So, let's talk about this weekend. We saw some exciting fights. Let's start with Friday night. Saw some exciting fights on ESPN, produced by Top Rank. What do you guys think about the Joshua Greer versus Giovanni Escanera bout?
It was a very close fight. Very messy. I mean, at times. Pickups to Greer. He did defeat Escanera, but he got hit quite a lot. He must work on. I think in my opinion, he should work on his defense if he wants to stay in this game, because he was dropped twice in the fight itself.
I thought it was only once at the end of that round. It was one punch right at the bell and he went down. I think after that he was cool.
Yeah, I think it was at the top of the third.
Yeah.
Third. Oh, I thought it was twice. And then it was one time. Yeah, yes, it was one time. Yeah.
What I took from it, I didn't think he was hurt. You know, he looked shocked from the ref's decision to call it a knockdown, which speaks to his inexperience. But yeah, I think he definitely could stand to improve his defense. But other than that, his work rate I thought was pretty decent. For what it's worth, Escanera brought it. You know, he pressed him. He made Joshua Greer fight and have to think and put him under pressure. And we got to see a little bit of what Joshua Greer can do under those circumstances when he's pressed. But he's definitely got more to grow. I still would like to see. I think it is a little it's a little early for him to be bringing out that pillow. It's not going to be a knockout every time. In fact, it could even hurt him long term. You don't know when a knockout's going to come. No one knows. That's the truth.
Yeah, it could be a role reversal that it would be humiliating, and then he should. I don't know. I think it was kind of corny, but whatever. But I think in terms of his performance, he did well. I think he takes too many shots. If he gets in there with somebody that can really pop, it might be a night for him.
I think he should just stick to the basics and stop being so fancy in the ring. I think it's going to cost him in the long run. So that was my take on that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, Greer is 16 wins with 11 knockouts. I expect him to have a little pop behind his punches for a middleweight, but he's still developing. And I agree with what P said. The showmanship, maybe you haven't quite earned that yet. Let the promoters handle that part. Let his PR firm handle that part, and him stick to the fundamentals and make sure that he's working in the ring. All right, so next up, I want to talk about the ladies, Michaela Mayer and Yareli Larios. What do you guys think of that?
I think Mayer is just a solid fighter.
It was a good fight. I really enjoyed watching Larios trying to defend it off, and she landed some good shots too.
But yeah, Mayer, once again, I expect big fights in the near future for her.
Yeah.
Congratulations on her defeat.
Yeah, big ups.
I mean, on her win.
Yeah, big ups on her win. Both right-handers, both solid fighters. Mayer is a U.S. Olympian. Yareli Larios has extensive experience via her father, who's also a professional and a world champion. She's got a lot of experience in her corner. Coming out of Guadalajara, Mexico, I'm sure there's a lot of exposure to the same kind of training camps that Canelo Alvarez comes out of. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of huge fighting culture down there, including her ringside experience, her ringside family, they definitely knew what they had to do. It's just it was not enough against a very skilled mayor who knew how to work. She knew that Larios was going to come to the body. Instead, what she did was go to the body herself, slow down the attack. Also having that, she got that huge height advantage coming in at 5'9". Plus, I also think intrinsic things like being up in Colorado Springs and only working 2-minute rounds. I think this was like a vacation. She's still developing, but I think that she could easily do 3-minute rounds. I think any professional, any woman in the women's boxing could do 3 minutes with the right conditioning, and I definitely think Mayer is up there. Up next, I want to talk about Rob Grant. What you guys think about Rob Grant and this Hassan Baysangarov?
Yeah, I saw it on Saturday in the afternoon, and I was watching the fight, and I was like, based on his previous fight when he won the chip, that he threw a lot of punches, and obviously that was the telling story of the night is his volume. But he's being put in a position to possibly be be a mandatory for Canelo and some of the bigger names in the middleweight division. And I think he certainly needs to correct some things that Andre Ward pointed out in his commentary, which I found it to be telling as well during the fight, that he continuously did it, and his the Russian fellow, what's his name?
Baysangarov, Hassan Baysangarov.
Yes, he Brand did a lot of movement that sort of that never got him in a position to throw his punches. Had he fought toe to toe with him, it would have been a different night.
Magic Man, what do you
I
think?
think Brandt's key to the victory was just endurance and constant moving, constant throwing punches. The punches itself served as an offense and a defense for his game plan. But I don't believe as a middleweight, if he steps in the ring with Canelo or some of the big boys, that he's going to endure. I think he still has to learn a few things here and there. I mean, he's a constant mover. He constantly throws punches and he has great endurance. But I think he needs a little more, because if he ever does, like you say, stay in the pocket with any of his opponents, it can be a different ball game. I mean, he basically gave Kassan a tough time to set up because he kept moving, which is part of his game plan. But would that really work when it comes to Canelo and the other big boys in the middleweight division?
Certainly, with someone who gets in there with him and knows how to cut the ring off,
Yeah.
and that'll be a problem for him. I don't think the Besagorov did a good job in cutting the ring off and making him fight. He just kept following him around the ring all night long.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That if actually Brent wants to make a name for himself, I think he needs to go back to the drawing board and tweak his game plan a little bit better. I'm not saying that his constant motion and punches doesn't work. It is effective. But if he ever does stay in a pocket or is against the rope, I don't see him coming out very well out of that encounter. So, but I do congratulate him. It was a good victory, but it was all about moving and endurance and multiple punches that got him to that victory that night.
Yeah, that punch rate, 1,200 punches that night, was definitely telling. It's hard to defend against that against any opponent when somebody's that busy. I think that you guys definitely pointed out something that's his unorthodox execution, right? It's almost like he's throwing these punches at awkward angles, also including the fact that his high volume. Reminds me a lot of Manny Pacquiao in that sense.
Yeah.
But with that, maybe if he can couple the active footwork to reset and remain balanced and fix that posture that you guys described, then he might have something. We'll see what he has to prove. We'll see what he brings to the ring. He's supposed to be the mandatory for the outcome of Canelo Jacobs. I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, and to keep up those type of volumes of punches as you age in the boxing game and boxing industry can be pretty challenging. After a certain amount of years, can he really produce that type of volume of punches as he did that night?
I think the goal is to get to the chip, and I think that's not going to be a problem, right?
Well, I mean, he's on his way.
Yeah, and for him to be able to keep up that amount of punching, I don't think it's going to be a problem for now in the near future. In the long term, yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't really. I'm not even thinking about him long term like that. I'm thinking about short term because he's going to get that shot. He may get that shot, and once he gets that shot, will he be able to fend these dudes off? And that's what I don't think he'll be able to do. In order for him to do that, in those moments where he's forced to fight, he has to fight and he has to counter and he has to tag these guys and let them know that you're just not going to come in here and bully me around. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's going to occur if he doesn't make the necessary changes for him to be successful in those type of fights.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, can he adapt, and that's a big part of it. Okay, I want to see him adapt and be able to apply some ring IQ, more ring IQ, and I guess that'll be telling as the competition steps up for him. So he's somebody to watch and keep an eye on, and watch as he continues to showcase.
And this was these 3 fights took place in ESPN Friday Night Top Rank. I just wanted to mention
Yes.
that, let everyone know the fan base where they can see the fights on a Friday night.
Excellent. Moving on. So now I want to talk about Saturday. We had some really big bouts on the PBC on Fox. What do you guys think of this dangerous Donnie Marshall versus the towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora?
This was super welterweight, correct? Super welterweight?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just got 3 words to say on that end. Ho, ho, ho. This guy, Sebastian Fundora, is 21 years old. He has a record of 12 and 0 with 8 knockouts now. He's at 6'7". The man is 21 years old and he measures 6'7". He towered over Donnie Marshall, who only had 6'1", was only 6'1". And Donnie Marshall was also undefeated that night. And I'll be honest with you, man, that reach advantage that Fundora has, it's hard to get over. Even though Marshall would try to get in there and he would throw his powerful punches, anytime you step out, he'll get a jab in his face. Anytime he stepped in, he'll get a jab in his face. Those punches, he could not avoid those punches because the reach was just extensive. And plus, Fundora has a very good inside game. For a big guy with long reach, the guy has a good inside game, which threw a lot of people off, especially Marshall. So pickups to Fundora for that fight, and congratulations on that win.
Yeah, Marshall came in 10 wins, 0 losses with 6 knockouts. Fundora came in with 11 wins, 0 losses.
Fundora himself has 7 knockouts when he got in with Marshall. He already has 7 knockouts in his record.
Besides the height advantage, he had a 6-inch height advantage, but also the reach advantage though wasn't very much. What I thought was interesting, Donnie Marshall has 72-inch reach advantage, but Fundora was 73. So but still, just like Magic Man described, Donnie Marshall would come in. On the way in, he would get tagged. On the way out, he would get tagged. You move to the side, he get tagged. And the work rate, even though it was a 3rd round stoppage, the work rate looked like it was well on his way to being to reaching the at least breaking the 800 mark. So we'll never know. But man, that was great. It was really, really fun to see, and so this guy is a specimen. He's going to be interesting to see him.
And I think and just to say one last thing before we move on, a guy that height 6'7" at that weight class, it's just a show. I think honestly, he's not going to stay at that weight. He's going to definitely move up to better opportunities because right now that height, there's no one really that can challenge him. You know what I'm saying? At that with that height and that reach advantage at 6'7". I mean, they could, and if somebody could and is able to knock him out, who knows if his career is even over? He's gonna
have a challenge. Yeah, he's gonna have a challenge finding people to get in the ring. I mean, he could grow. I could see him growing easily into a cruiserweight. Easily.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of Paul Williams almost.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I do remember Paul Williams.
In his prime, yeah, Paul Williams was one of the most avoided guys for those reasons. It was really difficult to hit.
Until he met
Maravilla, yeah, the Maravilla.
Yeah, and then it was over.
So yeah, moving on. Let's what do you guys think about this Panterita Omar Figueroa versus John Molina Jr.?
That was the welterweight division. I believe Molina got cheated on this fight. I think he was the busier fighter. I think he landed more of the shots. It was a very tough fight to score, but I think Molina weathered the storm in terms of volume compared to Figueroa. Figueroa threw the harder punches, but Molina also threw some hard punches, and the volume was just no comparison. But I believe that Molina got cheated on that night, and they gave the victory to Figueroa Jr. That night. So that was my opinion.
What do you think, P?
Honestly, I'm not going to even front. I didn't see that fight.
I'll speak to it then.
Shame.
Yeah, shame on you. Anyway, I'll speak to it, but I don't think that John Molina got cheated. I do have Figueroa winning. I don't have him winning by the same margin that the judges put on the record, but I do think that when looking at effective punches, I think that Figueroa's punches were more effective. Not to say that Molina didn't have his moments, and not to say that it wasn't competitive. I thought it was a lot closer than what the judges had, but overall, I think that Figueroa's punches were more effective in the pocket where they stayed a lot, which I really enjoyed and appreciated to see that ring IQ at that range. But, you know, I also could see that both of them, to their credit, had a lot of rust. Figueroa had suffered from an injury, and that kept him out of the ring for over a year inactive. But I could see the ring rust, and I think that this was a good comeback fight to begin to shake it off. And I began to see it coming off. You know, I could see that the muscle memory was still there, the reaction time was still there, but they were like almost relearning to walk again in the ring. But once they shake that off, I think that Figueroa is going to be someone to watch. You know, with 27 wins, still undefeated, he's going to be fun to watch going forward.
That's one of the questions I asked. How much of this was business? Because Molina's already been in the game. His record, you know, he's had numerous amount of losses. And Figueroa is the up and coming, you know, boxer. So how much of it was business? Maybe instead of just giving the win to Molina, let's give it to Figueroa because we have hope that Figueroa is going to continue in the business while Molina's actually close to retirement. So that's also, you know, I had to throw that in there because in what I saw, Molina won that fight. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll probably watch the fight again. But how much of it was actually business in the boxing industry? Figueroa is the up and comer, and Molina's actually out the door. So why?
You make a great point. I think you make a great point. The same kind of questions that people were posing during the Triple G Canelo. Same kind of question, same kind of situation. Like, who are they how much of that was business in those decisions? Next up, I want to talk about the main event.
Yeah, the featherweight, the WBA featherweight title.
Let's talk about Leo Santa Cruz and Rafael Rivera. What'd you guys think of that?
Yeah, I saw that fight. I think he reminds me of a Margarito. He throws a lot of punches. He's a stalker. I think in terms of popularity and star power, I feel the same way I did a few years ago when I first saw him. There hasn't been, everybody recognizes him as a good fighter, but not that main event fighter. And I think he should have been at that point already, but I don't think he's gotten like the huge fights yet. I don't know. He did what he always does, and it was an exciting fight. These guys were going at it. It was almost like a street fight. Two dudes just throwing punches, going at it, hoping somebody lands and knocks the other dude out. It was that type of fight, especially towards the later rounds, in the last few seconds of each of those rounds. Leo Santa Cruz is Leo Santa Cruz. There's nothing. He wants the big fights. I hope he gets the big fights. Let's see what happens.
I saw the fight. Leo Santa Cruz never disappoints me. He's always a good fighter. He sticks to the basics. Like Margarito, he aims at the body. A lot of uppercuts to the body. Rivera started off very well in the first, second, even third round. But Santa Cruz, with all those body shots, managed to slow him down and eventually keep him in the pocket. His volume, 1,273 punches. I mean, Santa Cruz throws a lot of punches. But Petey Pablo's right. The guy, for some reason, doesn't have the charisma to bring in that fan base that he should. He should bring that fan base to the stadium. For some reason or another, I compare that to actually Andre Ward. That they're very, very good fighters, but for some reason they just have a tough time selling tickets. And
Don't
and
you be
he's being
talking
so
shit about
cheap.
Dre.
Okay. He's being okay. That's another discussion. But basically, Santa Cruz is a very good fighter. He did a very good job that night. He did an excellent job. But once again, he's still missing that real title shot that really can ring bells and make his name known in the industry. So I hope it gets better for him in the near future. That's
But you
my
know what? This could be a blessing in disguise because he's not that big of a name. Who knows if somebody doing the matchmaking overlooks him and decides to put him in there with Tank Davis?
That'll
Whew.
be an excellent, but that's a featherweight. I don't know if Tank Davis is in that same division.
I think he said he was willing to move up.
Okay, if he's willing to move up, then we're talking.
Yeah, I think I sent you guys an interview after the fight for Leo Santa Cruz. Check that out and see what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I
but
dig it.
I
I
compare
would be excited to see him if he
I
came up with
compare Santa Cruz to Margarito in terms of he hits the body mostly. And if you look back when Margarito was fighting Cotto, Cotto was aiming just for in the first fight. Cotto was just aiming for the face the whole time, while Margarito kept concentrating on the body. And I wonder if Santa Cruz fights Tank Davis, if that's going to be the same fight where Tank Davis just focuses on the body, I mean on the face, while Santa Cruz goes to the body. And Tank's hands are very heavy, so can Santa Cruz actually take all those facial punches just to go and hit Davis in the body? That would be a very good, fight to see. That'll be my question.
one of the things that I think is really interesting about what you guys bring up is that that comparison to Margarito in terms of punching style. I could see that, but I also see ring generalship when it comes to maintaining the hit and don't get hit methodology. He was virtually unscathed, and I want to give big ups to Rafael Rivera for bringing the fight the entire time, went the distance, was game the entire night. It's not his fault that he could not get through. I think Santa Cruz had a beautiful technique and was just not able to touch it. I would see Rivera execute maybe 4 or 5 punches, and out of those 4 or 5 punch combinations, maybe one would touch. And besides that, the 1-1-2 and anything less than that had a really tough time getting through. So for those reasons, I would love to see Leo Santa Cruz not only against coming up in weight, anyone in his division right now, but also coming up in weight. I would see him against anyone, just based on technique alone. So, what do you guys think about on this next segment? I wanna cover some of the news, some of the headlines that has recently come out. What did you guys think about Teofimo Lopez's interview on Max on Boxing?
I'll say this: when I saw it, I think what Teofimo has started is the talk of facing the Hank Davis, the Lomancheko, all the big names, all the champs. He's calling them out. He gives them no respect. He gives none of them any respect. He's caused people to talk, especially in those camps. He's basically disrespecting all of them. He's saying none of them are on my level. I can beat all of them. He's the one he's on a rising trajectory right now
Yeah, absolutely.
that he cannot be ignored. And he's already stated this is his last year at 135. Anybody who at 135, Gervonta Davis, Lomancheko, anybody who wanted at that weight class can get it at 135 this year. Next year, he's moving on to 140. He already said it. He's fighting 3 times, April 20th, in July, I believe, and in December. So there's 3 opportunities, actually 2, because Yeah, because well, actually three, well, two, because we're certainly not going to get the big fights on the undercard of Crawford Khan with Teofimo against any of those guys. Any of those
Yeah,
guys are main events and
Lomachenko's not
possible
gonna
main
take an
events.
undercard fight. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
and
that.
those are going to be a main event fights. So on April 20th, whoever is facing, hopefully it's Pedraza, because people are talking about that being his next guy.
I would
But
love that. That's a
but I also
great
sent you
matchup.
guys a YouTube video of him talking about what some of the Pedraza people are talking about, and the other possibilities. And I want to just touch base real quick because I had made some statements regarding these younger fighters fighting each other too early. The reason, and I had made some comments regarding the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. People were talking about them two guys getting together.
Right.
I don't think they should get together because it's too early for them. They're not really that well known. They're not really that well known. Not like Teofimo Lopez and how fast his name has come up. And he's the one making noise. He's the one making noise. He's the one that's getting dates. You know, he's getting undercard pay-per-view right now. This is a pay-per-view. He's gonna be on the undercard of that pay-per-view right before that fight. You know how many eyes are gonna be there, and if he's able to continue to devastate these guys in that fashion, you think people are not gonna be talking after that fight?
And he's earned that. He's earned all that attention. My question to you guys and the audience is this. Do you think that he would be so adamant about calling out if he wasn't coming up in weight?
All I see in that interview is a person that's confident in himself and the skill that he brings to the ring. I didn't see any type of cockiness in that interview. What I saw was a man that's sure of himself.
Yeah.
He has the goal in
Mhm.
mind. And if they want to bring it, bring it. If they don't, they don't. And I like the fact that he stated, this is my last year at 135. Either you set it up for the fight or I'm moving on. He has a goal in mind. He's not going to be held back by, oh, Lomancheko, oh, Tank Davis. Listen, you know where to find me. You know my number. And if you're not arranging it, you know it's not from my end of the it's their end. Their management has not.
That makes perfect.
Right,
that
has
makes
not done
perfect
it.
sense. So my question to you is, do you think that he would be so adamant about calling out Lomancheko, Pedraza, Tank Davis, and anyone else in that division if he knew that he wasn't gonna grow anymore? Let's say he was naturally a 130 fighter. Do you think that he would be in such a rush?
No.
Possibly not.
No.
Possibly not, but it's time. You know, he's getting all the hype.
He's earned it.
He knows that he can make big money right now, and he's already stated in one of those interviews that I sent out to you guys that he's making good money right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see the diamond earrings, you see the gold watches with the diamonds on it. He's making decent money right now. You know what I'm saying? And he's only moving on to bigger and better things. If they can't happen at 135, well, this is the year that last year he's going to be fighting at that weight class, and he wants to chip. Most likely, he's going to get the vacancy of Mikey Garcia's WBC title, I believe. That's going to go up for grabs. He'll probably fight for that. Whoever they put in there against him. Does the fight happen this year? I don't know, because obviously we're talking big money and things change. You know, things change because of that big money. People are licking their chops at getting the biggest possible payday for everyone. You know, especially for themselves. So
Is it safe to say that no matter what division Lopez lands on, he's going to call out the champion of that given
of course.
division?
Of
That's
course.
exactly what he's doing. He's at 135 right now. He's calling out Tank Davis and Lomancheko. They want to arrange it, fine. They don't. Let's move on. If he's at 140, he's going to call this. If he's at 147, he's going to call Crawford. He's going for the top of the top, and he earned it. So at this point, I didn't see any cockiness. I saw basically what it is. What it is. I got a skill. I want to reach the top, no matter what division I'm in. So I like the interview, and I think he's ready. I think he's more than ready.
I think he should get him. Yeah, I think he should get the fights. He should get him. He should have no interruption, no barriers.
If he gets any of these warm-up fights before the main event, it's probably not to warm up his skills, but actually to get his name out there and in marketing. They can get more money for his purse.
Course.
That's it.
Hey, that's why he's fighting on that card. Crawford and Khan is a big fight. People are gonna watch that fight, especially to watch Crawford. You know, and see what Khan is able to do. at this point in his career. There's a lot of drama going into that fight, but seeing Teofimo Lopez and the buzz that he's getting, that's going to be a huge night for him. He's going to be even more in demand.
Absolutely. He's the kid's somebody to watch. The kid stays in the picture.
Yeah. And I say this, and this is something that I had mentioned before in our previous conversations outside of recording. When I watched those fights on Friday and Saturday, I understood why people like college basketball and these younger kids fighting, because you're watching dudes develop, or to see if they've developed already and are ready to move on to the next level. But it's genuinely, there's like the competition. You feel the competition. You feel them trying to win. Not to say that these bigger bouts, they're not trying to win, but there's just more money and business and politics involved than these fights that are happening on these smaller cards, less eyes on there. These are real fights that are happening, and people trying to make their way to that big payday and living out their dreams.
It's pure. It's pure. The championship mindset is pure at this level or earlier stages, let's say. Moving on, I want to talk about this presser between Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia.
You can't win!
What is going on there? Like, it looked like David and Goliath. What do you guys think about that?
It's gonna be tough. I got 100 on Garcia.
You can't win!
It's gonna be tough. All right, that's one word. That's one word for it.
Oh man, I saw the press conference for that. I'm very worried for Mikey Garcia. I think I'm going to give him a call and maybe we can talk things over. I saw the press conference. They were standing next to each other, and Mikey Garcia's well gelled mullet only hit Spencer's bottom of the nose. That to me worries me a lot. Because it looks like you can move and shuffle around for a couple of rounds, but eventually you are going to get hit by that big shot from that giant. And whether you can have the chin and weather the storm, that's the question that I have for Mikey Garcia. And Mikey says he sees some type of flaw in the game plan that Spencer brings, and I hope he's right. Yeah. I really hope he's right.
I it'll be, for me, the most interesting part of if Mikey Garcia pulls it off. Not only that, if he's able to pull it off, but to finally hear what he saw, to actually break down the fight, to see how he was able to win. Because right now, I just don't see how Garcia can beat Spence.
This guy Spencer can adjust. Spencer can move. Spencer can defend his offense. He packs a punch. When was the last time you seen Garcia knock someone out? It's been a while, man. It's been a while. So I'm very worried. And I like Mikey Garcia, but I think he went over his head on this one. Wish him the best of luck. I really do. And I'll be there. I'll be there front and center. Let's see.
You gonna be in the building, or you just gonna be there on supporting?
You know what? At this point, I won't disclose that information because I'm that much.
Okay.
I don't know what might happen. I'm not gonna disclose that. I'm just gonna say that I'm there. Okay.
Say no more. All right. I dig it, Magic Man. All right. So
we got also.
Do we want to discuss just the recent news that happened this morning? Well, no, not that.
I wanted to discuss the Joshua and Miller a little bit.
Yes. Go ahead.
I believe
because I was referring to the Fury. I want to pose a question, but let's talk about real quick Joshua Miller fight, and then I'll pose this question to you guys. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I mean, Joshua could have came to the United States a long time ago. He decided to come now because people have been heckling him for him to come over to the United States. He's taking on Miller, and he thinks that Miller's going to be an easy ticket for him. But Miller has been unpredictable for the last 3 to 4 fights where people, underestimate Miller, and Miller comes back with a wallop and knocks dudes the hell out. And I think Joshua's going to have a tough time in this fight. I don't think it's going to be a walkthrough, to be real with you, man. And you know,
Yeah, I think I agree. I've been a fan. I've been a fan of Miller since for a while now. I've been following him for a little bit. You know, he's from Brooklyn. He's been in that contender category for a couple of years. I think he reminds me a lot in terms of his position of Fury because he doesn't have really anything to lose and he can give you a lot of problems. And he has the potential against some of those heavyweights that are out there. He has the potential for an upset. I think he really can win. He's got a chance to win. He might be able to outbox.
yes.
He's deceptively slick in the pocket also.
I'll ask you guys a question because I'm pretty sure you guys are more familiar with Miller than I am. Who has he fought that you can compare to Joshua? Or to his caliber fighter?
His resume does not compare.
No,
I'll speak to that right now.
No.
His resume does not compare. I'm just talking about what I saw in terms of his skills. Okay, that he had a man in front of him that's trying to knock him out, just like he is, just like he's trying to. But the caliber, no, the caliber of competition was not the same. I will admit that.
So this is what I'm going to say in regards to that fight. I think because Joshua is on a mission. He's been embarrassed. The reason why I say that is because he put himself in a position to say that I call the shots. And then after that Wilder Fury fight, like I said before in conversation with you, Harlem, that it was they plotted against him. They plotted after that fight and saw the aftermath and the result and the results of that fight and the fandom that they gained from that fight. Like, yo, we don't really need Joshua. So Joshua's on a mission, I think, to prove himself and to gain that notoriety that he wants, that he needs in order for him to be the A side of things. He's gonna go out there and do what he got to do against Miller.
Well, let's be real. When Wilder was tearing up the charts, Deontay Wilder, Joshua was avoiding him in a way, you know, indirectly avoiding even the talk of getting together with Wilder. Or I called him, he didn't call me back, blah, blah, blah. Then Wilder had that fight with Tyson Fury. Now, all of a sudden, Joshua got on the mic and on the interview. Yeah, I would definitely like to fight Wilder.
I have a rebuttal
I
to
could
that.
definitely like to fight Wilder. Oh, but what about Tyson? Oh, Tyson doesn't have the belt. Wilder has the belt. Like, he got more confident after he saw the Fury and Wilder fight. And all of a sudden, now he's picking Miller, and he's going to be in MSG in New York City. Something that he could have done in the snap of a finger to battle Wilder, he did not do. So now everything's on the line, of course.
Yeah, I think what the sentiment has been is that he overplayed his hand. And I think that's what happened. But Wilder not choosing to fight Joshua was due to Wilder not being comfortable not being comfortable with the terms, the numbers. The numbers weren't good enough for him. You know what I'm saying? So he took a chance with Fury so that he can come back to the table. That's what Wilder did. And he didn't expect to go through what he did with Fury. He didn't expect it.
I knew it. I knew Fury had it. Nobody.
Me too. I'm like, that's a dangerous fight.
I think you're gonna get away with it like that.
No, that was a dangerous fight for Wilder. Not to say that he was gonna get knocked out, but to make it look like a fool.
Yeah, he's swinging on air. He was swinging on air, literally. It was unbelievable what Tyson did.
He has that equalizer. He can knock you out anytime, any moment, any 15th round, 20th. He'll knock you out.
That's fair. I think that's fair. One thing I want to say is that before Tyson Fury got his shot and before Luis Ortiz got his shots for exposure, you could also say, hey, who have these guys fought that they deserve this shot, that we should be worried about who these people are.
Fury took down Klitschko. Took him down.
Before that,
let's be real. Klitschko was running the division for 10 years straight. And this guy stepped out of nowhere and took it over.
Out of nowhere, right. With no resume. Right? With no resume. So that's what I'm saying.
The fact that Joshua is avoiding Tyson because he took out my protege. He took out my master. Took him out with ease. And now Wilder was another challenge that everybody's talking about. And Tyson stepped in there and made Wilder look stupid too. That's a dangerous man.
So because of that, I'm saying that this kid in Brooklyn has the same danger.
Exactly.
And also the aura of mystery, because who has he fought? Nobody really. That doesn't mean he won't give you problems.
To transition real quick into what Tyson Fury has done as of today, as of what I heard, and I sent it to you guys. Tyson Fury signed a deal with
ESPN Top Rank.
ESPN Top Rank.
I
the
saw that.
exposure,
Yeah,
A multi-fight deal.
that's crazy. That really throws a monkey wrench in the
wrench.
chain,
So,
man.
How
It's
let me ask you
how
this.
does it blow a monkey wrench, gentlemen?
Let me ask you this. Tyson Fury now, well, not Tyson Fury, Top Rank, whoever signed them is the one negotiating these deals now. Do they feel like, because again, let's bring it back. Tyson Fury gained a lot of fans on that night against Wilder.
Yes.
A lot of people saw Tyson Fury for the first time.
Internationally.
Do they think now that they're in a position to make demands and make it difficult for these guys like, yo, you need me a little bit more than I need you right now?
Here's what I think. The major takeaway from that article that I got was, now the pot has been split multiple ways.
Yes.
So there are multiple interests, which means there's not a lot left over for the actual fighters. And depending on who their promotional machine is, which promotional machine they're standing behind, they are going to have to negotiate for smaller parts of the pie. And at this point, I don't even think that money's a factor anymore. It's like, do you want to be the unified champion or not?
Gentlemen,
Do you want to be the heavyweight champion or not?
Tyson gave away his purse, his $8 million purse against Wilder. He gave it away to the cause of depression and whatever he went through. He gave away his whole purse. Tyson's not there for the money. He's there for a bigger purpose. He's there to prove to people that through the depression and all that, you can still come through and persevere. He's there as a beacon of hope for people in depressive state. His money
And
is
I
a
understand that,
secondary
and that's
thing
great.
for him.
But the people who he signed a contract
Yeah,
with, he made a
they're not
partnership.
thinking about none
They're
of that.
not thinking about any of that.
Of course, he's
They
going
don't
to
give a hootie
get
mat.
his just share. But what he's looking at is exposure. Tyson wants exposure. If you look at his interviews,
Oh, he'll get that
he wants
exposure,
the
but will we
That's why
see
he
the
went into
fights?
platform of ESPN.
Will we see the fights that we want to see now? I don't know.
Well,
it's questionable.
It's going to definitely make it a little bit more
let's
difficult.
be real. How
I
many
think.
heavyweight champions are there? They're not like, there's not the middleweight division. There's not the featherweight division. Heavyweight division, there's very few in between heavyweights. So you're going to see the fights. You're going to see the fights, guys. You just got to be patient. I'll get on the phone. I'll make it happen.
Apparently, Magic Man is gonna make some
All right,
phone
so call me
calls. He's gonna
Magic.
talk
I'm
to
gonna
some
make it happen,
people,
bro. Got
and
my
he's gonna
voodoo
make
dolls
it
and
happen.
all.
All
I
right.
gotta make it happen.
So, there was no bum fights this week.
Thank God.
There's no bum
Oh,
fights.
let's announce the other fights that are gonna come February 23rd.
Yes.
Oh yeah, on February 23rd, we got some great fights. On Fox, we have Anthony Durrell versus Avni Yildirim.
Looking forward to that.
On Showtime we have James DeGill versus Chris Eubank Jr.
That should be good. That should be good.
On BT Sports we have Anthony Yard versus Travis Reeves.
Okay.
And on The Zone we have Brandon Rios versus Humberto Soto. All on February 3rd.
Brandon Rios needs to retire.
Yeah, he's gonna get a concussion. He's gonna be
Bam bam.
He's gonna be.
He's probably had it already.
Yeah, he won't be able to drink a glass of water after a while.
He's reached journeyman status in my opinion as well. We'll see.
He's another Molina. He's another Molina.
Yeah,
what
he's taking too much punishment.
Yeah.
He's taking too much punishment.
So
that's our show, guys. Thank you for listening. This is FightBouts. I'm your host Harlem Jones. I'm here with my co-host P and the Magic Man. Thank you for listening.